Most successful ad had two words: think different. Your paragraph may be killing your sales. While you explain features, leaders use headlines and graphics. Companies with clear, simple messaging see 4 times higher response rates. Each extra sentence reduces message retention and complicates pitches. Overcomplicated messages is costing you, mid-sized companies, massive amounts of money. Simplicity is important. In the majorly complex world that we have right now, simplicity gains a greater foothold than you would imagine. In many ways, it's more difficult. In fact, the classic is the President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, who apologized for writing a long letter because he didn't have time to write a short one. I always think of this as the classic example of exactly how we are. We have a tendency to want to put more in and more and more, opposed to be willing to refine and create simpler messages, simpler ideas, and therefore create easier ways for us to understand and to comprehend. One of my favorite examples of this is when Lexus, one of the car companies from Tokyo, decided that the way that they were going to advertise their new car was just the silhouette. But not just the silhouette of the car, it was a simple paintbrush that described the top of the car in one swoop. It was interesting, it was simple, it was focusing. It was amazing how we can understand the flow and the way it works by something as simple as a simple paintbrush. Now, this was vastly before computers were able to digitize this. This was someone who was a master artist who created this. And very seldomly do we take the time to make it simple, because our brains are trying to put as much in as possible and make it complex. So I've always striven to try and understand how to make something simple, because the complexity just confuses. If I was to tell you that there were 700 parts to viral social stacking, our social media system, and I was to explain each one of those, we would all get bogged down in the process. But instead, if I was to explain that you take a video and we take that video and we strip it out, we make audio, we strip that up, we make posts, and then we cut up the video and we make the various reels, and then we take the audio and we make it text. And you get 70 pieces of content for one video. It's taken me a very long time to explain that complexity and that simplicity, and I'm sure I could get it closer. But the ability to simplify is something that's always fascinated me. The ability to make complex ideas simple, and the ability to make complex ideas and visual cues simple, have always been interesting. Apple using the think differently to emphasize its creative side, to capture the images, the iconic images of the people who thought differently. And if you remember that advertising campaign or need to look that up, the one final campaign is when Einstein is with his hair wild, sticking his tongue out, saying, "Think differently." That is an advertising campaign that has been with us for a long while. And it was simple. It was not color, it was black and white. It was a few simple words that spoke to the idea, the culture, and resonated with the exact people. So we need to understand our ideas. We need to understand what we're doing, but we need to think differently. We need to make it simpler. Another classic is Lego. Now, if you think about it, Lego is a square block. How do they make rounds? How do they make circles? How do they make a square block into all of the things of the world? And if you go and you see the 3,000 piece sets, they're amazing. But what really fascinated me, and what really got me down to this, is the small little packs that they used to make. They used to make packs that are 10 or 20 pieces that would make these square blocks would become a car or a little excavating machine. And this is a personal memory for me because my mother used to collect them. And she used to collect them and put them in a bag. And on Christmas Day, she would always give us a set of Legos. And in the beginning, it was fun. And then after a while, she started recycling them. So we'd get the same Lego kits every year. Then she'd zip it back up in the bag and try and make the box work. And then the box would fall apart. And we'd just get a Ziploc bag full of Lego parts. And it became a tradition to put them together and to sit around and put them together and see how these square blocks became a police car or a garbage truck or an airplane. Not complex. But what Lego did is they took the simple lines that they had to follow and give them outline and then work from there. And maybe this is where it came from for me. Maybe it was sitting down at the Christmas table on Christmas Day after you'd open your present that you had a little something to play with. And the adults would have coffee, and of course we would have cookies. And there was that time when I was putting together something that looked massively complex, but was incredibly simple, and only defined the lines enough to be able to say, yes, I know what it is. So what is it that you're using right now that is complex, that can be created incredibly simple? What are the things that are confusing your team, your customers, your population, your tribe? How do you make it simple? Do you create it as a framework? Do we create it as a story? Do you give it a name? Do you create a document? Do you make a simple line? The ability to create and make something simple is what has allowed me to run a business for almost 20 years. The ability to take massively complex things and look at the simple lines through them, which has been the key to me being able to create businesses and change lives. Being able to see the through line, that simple paintbrush line, creating greater depth, greater understanding. Simplicity is the ultimate complexity. It takes the most time, and it gives you the most advantage. I can't tell you how many people have looked at someone and goes, he understands me and he makes it simple. And any great leader will make the idea simple to be able to grasp and complex enough that you can expand into it. In many ways, we need to look at this in a way that anyone can capture and everyone can understand. And the beauty of that is, if you're the person to be able to do that, you're the individual who will create, and they will come back to again and again because you're known in how to make it simple. Do me a favor. Think about what you're trying to get done right now. Is there something that is frustrating you, frustrating your client? They're not seeing what you want. And ask yourself, can I make this simpler? Is this simplicity that I need? Is it something that I need a framework for? Is it something that I can lead in forward? And while you're at it, while I was talking, did another example of simplicity pop up for you? If it did, put it in the comments below. I'd love to talk to you more about it. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode on the Strategy Session, where we take your business from stuck to unstoppable. Here's another video I think you'd enjoy. If you found these insights valuable, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications on our latest videos. Remember, you're not just marketing, you're making history with Venture Gained.